Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Grounds with Giles and Jones. I'm Giles. He's Jones. A very unique show where we talk about everything from peanut butter to politics, but never politics, right?
Yeah, never politics.
You just never ends well there, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of like talking religion with people, too. It's all very personal.
Religion is a great thing to talk about.
You always have good conversations on religion?
Always.
Really? Yeah. Not so much here. I don't want to push on some of those boundaries sometimes. I mean, I invite it, but you get some people that are just so.
Because I'm just fascinated on their views and their relationship with whoever they worship. Well, I don't try to convert people.
There you go. Okay, yeah. Right. So you can listen to somebody's
job. Not my job.
Yeah, you can listen to somebody's conversation and listen.
Uncle Pete's right there. Uncle Pete's right there. Throw that right up into your URL. Come in, join this show. Still the most unique show here on 216 The Net and 216 Creator Studios. Another great thing is look for a group out there. We created a 216 Creator Studios group out on Facebook. You can join that. Be good to have you. Of course, a shout out to Natural Therapy Wellness. Big shout out to JH Events and Flowers. Had a ribbon cutting yesterday.
Yeah,
I couldn't make it to for their new place in Fox Lake. What a great place and a great event space.
Did you stop by there?
No, I had basketball. I couldn't get there. I had a game at 5.
Yeah, super nice place. If you guys are familiar at all with Fox Lake, stop in. It's right across from the train station there. It's a really nice little venue there. Yeah. Got all kinds of goodies. And, of course, just wonderful flowers, great prices.
Today's $5 Friday, so you can stop by either one of theirs. Stop by their new place in Fox Lake or the one here in town and grab a bouquet for $5. Mention 216 and say that Tom said that he would pay for them, and Tom will take care of it. There's Tom's Productions right there. But we always appreciate their support of the station, which is great. And Don says, yeah, he caught that. He says, you know what? Converting people is above our pay grade. Absolutely not my job. But you wanted to talk about stuff today, Scott.
No, I didn't want to talk about anything.
That's why I say we'll have a Scott talk today. You wanted to talk about how people react to the world or something.
No, yeah. So, I mean, it was just interesting. I was sitting around the other day talking with some people, and, like everybody in life, we've all got issues. We all have problems, right? And a lot of people, are a decent amount that I were talking to, were kind of taking this approach as a woe is me thing, right? Like they're the only one that shit happens to.
Okay.
Right? And that we know that's not true. Bad shit, good shit happens to everybody. But when the bad shit happens, it seems like a decent amount of people that I talk to or that I, pay attention to, use it as a negative, right? And I mean, don't get me wrong, things can be negative, but it's not what happens to you, right? It's how you react to it, because bad shit's going to happen. And the only person that's in control of what happens to that and what you use as that information and use it as a learning tool, right, is how you react. Car accident.
Okay, let's talk about a car accident. Let's use that as an example.
Right. Well, I mean, the only reason I brought that up is because, like, you're talking about your daughter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, car accident, you can't stop it. It happened.
Yeah.
Right. Some people just go absolutely ballistic, right? And you can't change it. I get it. The initial adrenaline rush, sends people into some weird spots, but people will let that just absolutely ruin their day, their week, their month. Right, when they can't change what's happened or what's going to happen, they just have to, I don't want to say follow the rules, but there's a course of, if you're in an accident, that you have to go through to get the job taken care of, right? You can't change it. You're going to have to go through it. So you might as well, make the best of it, right? It's hard to make things the best, but if you make the best of that situation, the bad situation, you're going to leave a little bit better taste in your mouth, and you're going to be able to move forward instead of continually dwelling on it and getting pissed about it, because you can't change it. So why worry about it? It's like you tell me all the time, quit worrying about shit. There's nothing you can do about it. Right. And that's kind of the same thing. And it's just interesting because there's usually only a couple reactions to problems. In an accident, obviously you've got to get the car fixed. Right.
Cappuccino, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Drew. Welcome back into town.
I agree.
That's it. Thanks for joining us today, guys. We really appreciate it.
I agree.
Well, it was interesting to me because quite a few people just they did, like you always say, when something happens to you, I look for what I should learn right from this. And that's kind of what I'm getting at is sometimes it's really hard to see the forest through the trees, right? Type of thing. When something bad happened, you say, what good is coming out of that for me? Or what can I learn from this? Which is kind of what I'm getting at. It's how you react to it. It's how you're going to let it affect yourself, your life, your day, or even your minute, because we are the only ones that are in control of what's going on with us.
Yeah.
Right. So your example of, what am I going to learn from this? You can't learn necessarily anything from the accident, right? Other than unless you're doing something wrong to cause it. But, it is what it is. I'm going to figure out these are certain steps, that I have to take to get this taken care of. And it was just amazing because instead of trying to figure out what to learn from it, everyone was it was a woe is me, and they were letting themselves shut down. Right. And that's, I think, what a good amount of people, I try not to use the everys and always and anything, but I think a good amount of people let things like that adversely affect them instead of going, it is what it is. I need to move forward. I need to try to take some positive steps, or in your words, what am I going to learn from this? Right.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Don says future show idea. The title should be Uncovering the Origins of All of Scott's Cliches.
What's a cliche?
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I don't. So if something happens to you, right, because you're a friend of mine, I care, but I don't give a shit. I mean, you gotta and I understand what I'm saying. I'll be there for you. I'll be there with you. I'll walk through the muck with you.
Right.
But how you respond to it, I could give two shits less. Right. I really,
well, yeah.
I really don't care. It may not be the way that I would handle it. But my life's not yours. My circumstances are yours. Right. With so when my daughter is little fender benders, they were going less, put on some black ice, going less than 20 miles an hour, didn't have any airbags or anything, just slid at a stop sign. I bumped back. It was very cold, so the plastic on her
shattered.
Jeep, so she calls me hysterical. She's never been in an accident. Now she's has ridden along with EMTs and ambulances and things like that. So she's seen a lot worse than,
right.
But she had never been in an accident. I'm just like, relax. Is everybody okay? She goes, yeah. Do you need me there? She goes, no, I'm okay. I said, okay, then deep breath. You're fine.
Right.
This is part of life. It's part of adulting.
Right.
Here's what you want to do. Right. Make sure you do this, this, and this. And I'm telling you that out of my experience. Right. Oh, and she doesn't said, don't call the cops, call the police. First time, just understand. As soon as somebody says, "Don't call the cops," call them quick.
Right. Well, yeah, because
exactly. there's a reason there. Take pictures of everything. Her car, your car, her, whatever. Right. And the lady was talking about a head injury again. The lady,
oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm like, again,
call the cops.
The damage isn't going to show a head injury. You know what I mean? So let's call the police. Get the insurance information. Right. But in the truth, I think a lot of people in the world, especially nowadays, go, Scott, you're handling this wrong. You need to do it this way. Right.
Oh yeah.
Why? Hey, this shouldn't bother you. I was at coffee this morning, and a gentleman is talking about a phone call that he got earlier this week from someone doesn't really know really well, but it is a real life human trafficking, sex slave situation.
Oh, it's horrible.
And it's not even in our neighborhood, right? I mean, it's in a town south of here.
It's close by.
Well, no, I mean Justice. It's in Justice, Illinois. I don't even know where Justice is. Right?
Southwest, I think.
So anyway, this small town, whatever, and there's, I mean, from what he described, I would say, sounds like a CSI show. I've never dealt with, right? And I'm watching his reactions. This guy is really moved by this. It is a horrible thing. It is a horrible thing. And he's mad at a lot of different pieces that he, in his dealing with this have been uncovered. Now, again, this isn't a close friend. This isn't a family member. This was somebody that he worked with years ago that reached out to him. Right. And I can see it's wrecked this guy's entire, he got involved in this for whatever reason, and it's wrecked his entire week. And my response as I'm sitting there is I'm like, okay, why did you get called? What is actually happening? It's an older gentleman too. You know what I'm saying? It's, is this a scam? I start going through, okay, I would have called the authorities, whatever, the FBI, whatever, and said, here, I got this phone call. Here's this is the shit's happening. Right. And left it alone. That's how I would have handled it. And, pray or whatever. But why did they call me for help? But I can't fix that. I don't even know where Justice is. Right. Mm-hmm. So, but this, I'm watching how this gentleman has responded to that, and it's bringing him to tears, and, and
that's a sad situation. That shit that even actually happens. Right. I mean,
well, yeah.
I know it happens, but when it's closer to home, or you have someone talking about it, it's just. Yeah.
Don says it's west of Bridgeview, south of Bedford Park, which are all great. I still don't know where that is.
Yeah, it's literally only about 33 minutes southeast or southwest of Chicago, down toward Lamont. It's not even as far as Lamont, so it's a relatively close suburb of Chicago.
Yeah.
So anywho, right? Anywho, I'm watching how this gentleman's reacting and doing all this stuff, and then I can only lean on my experience and say, so we're sitting there, and you can tell this gentleman is absolutely affected by this, right? And I go into Peter Griffin mode. I'm like, don't say something funny. Don't make a joke about this.
That's the wrong place.
I go straight into my head, start having a conversation like, not now.
That would be funny, but I'll keep it to myself.
That's right. Drink your coffee.
And know how to react.
But I'm seeing how disturbed this gentleman is about it, because, and my conclusion is, what's been how do I want to say it? What's been glorified, I guess, through Hollywood and TV shows and things like that is now real. So the make believe of Hollywood is now real in this guy.
As far as what happened, as far as the trafficking,
in this guy's backyard, right? Like, holy crap, right?
Right.
This is really close to us, and wow, it's real now, right?
Things are close.
So the make believe became believable. And, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, well, all right, Lord, why did this person reach out to me? What's going on?
They drove all the way from Justice to see you.
No, they called.
Oh, is it a phone call while you guys were having coffee?
No. The lady called him. The individual called him this week for help.
But this guy was here in.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. He drove all the way from Justice to tell you guys the story.
User, good to see you.
Good morning. Go to YouTube, like, share, subscribe.
That's right.
To the ground, so we can bring you more and fun and non-cliche
topics. And if you've got a small business and you want to you want to support the grounds, feel free to. We're going to start putting up a link. You go right to PayPal, and if you want to you want to sponsor the show, you can. Don said he'll be right back. We'll put him back in the green room there. So to me, again, I don't give a shit how, right? I'm not involved in it. Some people would dip their toe in it and say, oh, this is what has to happen. I don't do that. I don't give a shit. This is your deal. You're dealing with it. Deal with it. Right? I don't listen.
Well, it's not looking. He wasn't necessarily looking for advice, right?
I don't know. Was he?
Well,
I don't know.
I said it. He's not necessarily looking for advice. I mean, so like, and my reason for kind of bringing up this topic, right, or this question to me was, let's get back to your daughter on the car accident real quickly, right? How she reacted made or break the whole situation for her, right? She reacted, right? Obviously upset, but she thought smartly to call you, right? And say, Dad, this is what happened. She didn't know what was going on. She took she asked you for your information, and you kind of guided her as to where to go and what to do, right? She couldn't change the accident happened, was what I'm getting at, right? So how she reacted to that whole situation can set the stage for what's going to happen the rest of the day, the rest of the week, maybe even month, or her life. Like when you said call the cops, right? If she didn't call the cops, you could think of all the repercussions that may come back to her, right? So her reaction, her decision to call you and ask you questions was a good one, was a smart one.
Was in your eyes?
Well, in my eyes, I think it was smart. And because of everything that you brought up, right? Like when we talked the other day about it, was like, most people don't think that deep into something. Oh, I got in an accident, not a big deal. Let's exchange information. I got to get to work.
Yeah.
Right. And that could come back to haunt you in more ways than one. So her reaction to what happened and looking to talk to you and look for your guidance is important, instead of just sucking that in, right, and taking that ball of shit and figuring it out on her own. She used her resources, right, to pick it up. Well, it's not common. It doesn't appear, at least with the conversations that I have out there in the world, that it doesn't appear to be common that the understanding of, shit happens to everybody, problems happen to everybody, nobody's perfect. What happens to you, or how things play out depends on how you react to a situation, right? Instead of woe is me or whatever, she went in a direction that was smart, that was beneficial, that made sense, at least to me, right? Calling, I don't know. I'm going to call my dad. If I've got a problem and I don't know anything about it, or something that's causing me a problem, my reaction is to call somebody that I need.
Shayna, that was like the other week as well, Shayna, that you said I read through people's bullshit, and that comment got flagged as well out there with Zuckerman.
She got flagged for saying
whatever his name is. Zucker.
Warning on Facebook for saying good morning. What is that? Some type of code word or something?
That's false information. It may not be.
It would not be a good morning for you. Holy cow! I don't even want to get into that whole FB deal.
Yeah. So what? So what are you concerned with? Are you concerned with that people carry a lot of baggage with them and they don't release it and let it go? I don't understand where you're going with this.
Of course you don't. No.
Right. Yeah.
So no, it was interesting to me that, like, you've taught your kids, right, that it is what it is, right? And these are the things that you do. It's, to me,
you're saying there's not enough of that in the world.
I don't think, me personally, I don't think that parents are actually explaining or, to their kids that, this is what's going on, right? Like, I think a lot of people today are letting themselves become victims, right? And thinking they're the only ones, right? Like, so a lot of times people feel like they're isolated. They're the only one that this shit is happening to, when it's not. It's that learned, and it's the things of picking up from others. Like, I learn a lot of shit from you, right? And I see how you react to stuff, right? And I can learn from that, and I understand it, right? Because when something happens to you, you've got two choices: do nothing, do something. Most of the time, doing nothing is going to be more of a negative than doing something. You have to be, responsive to what's happening and to control your life. There's only so much that we have control over, and most of it's just ourselves. So how you react to a situation or a problem changes your trajectory, regardless if it's for the day, the week, the hour, what have you. So my thing is, I always taught my kids when they were growing up, it's not what happens, it's how you react to it, right? Because it's going to happen to people. Yeah. And I think maybe that's a better way of putting it. It's not what happens, it's just how you're going to react to it, because it's going to set you up for success failure, whatever.
Holy good night, Irene. Gary from Singapore.
Oh my God, Sear!
Wow.
Gary, what's up, buddy?
Hey,
It's
happy
Happy New Year. Good
it's
to
been
see
a
you.
while.
He is. Well, actually, I was in Anaheim last week, and there was a representative for Clawwitter speakers, and he was from Singapore. So I'm like, you know Gary Huang? He kind of looked at me. I go, I know you don't. There's a lot of people on that island, but I got a buddy.
I got a buddy over there. We're still going to go see him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good to see you, man. How
Yeah,
are you?
well, it's one of those rare nights when there's no gigs tonight for me to shoot. So it's a rare night.
It is a rare night. That is awesome. Welcome in, brother. Absolutely love you.
It's
Thanks for
been a while. It's been a long while actually.
Been
Yeah.
quite a few months.
Gary,
Too long. Too long.
Gary, I just want you to know you got a much better greeting than I did when I dialed into the show this morning. So,
I guess the two of them just went, it's him again. That's fine.
Sorry, Don. You know we love
Yeah.
you too, buddy. God, if it wasn't for you guys getting on here, Don, and giving me some crap, it wouldn't be any fun.
That's it.
It'd be too easy.
Eric Bam says, "Good morning. Best day of my mom's life." And
Were you born today?
Yeah, Shayna, keep an eye out front for the black
SUVs.
black SUVs. Shayna says compassion is an energy that distance doesn't hinder. We might recognize it as prayer. Gary.
I'm glad you read
I
that
mean,
one. I wasn't sure how to.
Even though I have not been able to go live with you guys for the last few months, but actually I've been when I got time, I actually been listening back to the episodes. So I've been catching up, kind of understanding what you guys have been rambling on about every Friday.
rambling on about it.
That's about right. There's our new intro, Rambling Man.
Rambling on. Hey,
Ramble
good
on.
Led Zeppelin song. We could play that new intro.
Oh, it's Eric's birthday, everybody.
Oh, happy birthday, Eric. Nice.
Nice. Making 54 look easy. Oh, nice. And thanks, Eric, because when you came out of the womb, you didn't see your shadow. Only 4 weeks of
more weeks of
winter here in the United States. So that's good. And by the way, that little rodent's accuracy is only 40%.
I was gonna say.
I mean,
think
that's a good percentage if you're a starting pitcher.
that's better than
Well,
most meteorologists.
I was
Dude.
going to say it's about the same as the weather people, right? Yep.
Yeah, that's actually better than most meteorologists. You know, Woodstock's been hanging on to that tradition for a long time.
What are you wearing, Eric? I can tell you exactly what he's wearing. Yeah, we know exactly.
Holy cow, that's a different show, Shayna.
No, he's got his bedazzled pants on today. I'll guarantee you. Especially for the birthday. Wow.
Yeah, you gotta set yourself up.
And the new bride. You're gonna get spoiled today, Eric. That's wonderful.
Wait, Eric just got married?
A little bit ago, back in December.
Oh,
maybe?
dude,
Yeah.
congratulations, man. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah. So your concern, Scott, is with people's reactions. Okay, so let me say this is we'll use my daughter's accident for example. If she didn't call me and she went hysterical and went crazy, you're saying that's the wrong way to react?
No. I'm not saying it's the wrong way to react, right? That's what she's going to do. But there's in certain situations, right? Like you want to make it better or make the best of that situation, right? She can't change what happened, right? So if she didn't call you, let's say, right, and ask you what to do, what potentially could have happened, right? And so her reaction by calling you, in my mind, doing the right thing or the smart thing, is going to save her problems and maybe some worry and fret down the way.
Would it have bothered you if they didn't like if your kid didn't handle it the way that you wanted them to?
No, not so. I
Are
mean,
you sure?
depending on I was going to say depending on the outcome, and if it was something that was, a little bit more common sense or something that could really affect their lives significantly, obviously. I mean, I don't want bad to happen to anybody, especially my family. So
I don't know. Again, I don't think there's a bad reaction to however you react or handle it is how you, because it's not the way that I would, I don't give two shits. right? I
Right.
really don't. It's none of my business that you went crazy, punched 3 people, got in fight with the cop because you were hysterical because you got in an accident.
Right.
That's the way you handled it.
Right.
And now you're in
But
jail.
Deke, I would assume though, if your daughter did that, you'd probably sit her down and have a discussion about how she might have handled the situation differently. Once you bailed her out of jail. Once you bailed her out of jail.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, each situation's different.
No, I probably would have cracked a couple jokes and said, what'd you learn from this?
Yeah.
Next time you don't do it, right? I don't think.
But that's
what I'm saying.
But you're
So
having
you're-
that's
so
what
you're
you're doing. You're having a
react-
conversation about how you dealt with the situation.
You're-
There's no way you would leave that situation with someone you love just undiscussed if she went crazy.
No, right.
Beat up the
That's
cop
what I
and went
said.
to
What did we
jail.
learn from this? Okay, you should have stopped. You should have stopped short of punching the cop or whatever, right?
Well, I think the point that you're making is, again, you're not going to say that was a stupid thing to do, and let me tell you how you should have done it. It's like what you open the conversation with, what did you learn from this? Because that's a whole different discussion.
Right. Well, so take it this way. She called you up and told you, right, that it happened. How you reacted to her telling her she got in an accident could set the stage potentially for good or bad or like if you're like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right. Your reaction to her comment or her information could help you guys, could hinder you guys. I mean, might not do anything, but you know what I'm saying? How you react to her getting an accident going, oh my God, are you okay? Which is what you obviously want to say. Instead of some parents are gonna be like, what the hell is wrong with you? I told you to drive slower, probably not even knowing what's going on. So how you react to that situation could change how she feels if she decides to come to you again, right? There's a bunch of different ways. And I'm not saying there's necessarily a right or wrong. I'm just, for me, when I see it and I hear people, right, saying some things, and it's in my mind, I'm going, well, that happened to me before too, right? I mean, and I won't stick my 2 cents in generally, especially if I don't know the person. Somebody like you, I'd say, well, this is what I did and this is what I found out. But, I mean, obviously we know that I like to help people, or at least teach. I don't even say teach, but this is what happened to me, and this is what happened. Might not be different for you, but how you reacted to her when she called you on the phone is paramount, because she's already in a heightened state of, probably not panic, but she's already in a heightened state, upset, crying. So if you were that dick dad and be like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? It's going to change.
Right, but here's what I'm saying, and before we get to Shayna's, right? And here's what I dislike, what Kent Jones dislikes about the world today, especially America. You just said, if you were that dick dad, this is 100% your opinion. This is what you're judging people. That's 100% your opinion. That's the way I respond to it. There's fight or flight.
Right.
And if I choose to fight, why is that wrong? Because you wouldn't do it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so this is what I hate about America in general right now is everybody throws, hey, this is my opinion and you should have done it this way. No, this is the way I was supposed to react. I got 2 choices, fight or flight.
Right.
Guess what? I chose to fight. Because you chose to fight, I'm a dick, Dad? Come on. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
that's what's wrong.
Well, you are a dick dad in my eyes. If you yell at your daughter for getting into an accident.
Not in my daughter's eyes. What's your eyes got to do with the way that I parent? Fuck you.
No, what I'm saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Right, I hear what you're saying, but if you do that to your daughter, right, you're setting her up potentially maybe to not want to share with you.
You don't know how I raised her. You don't know what she's been through, and now you're on the outside going, "That's a fucking dick move, dude," and you don't know.
But in my eyes,
to your
right,
kids, not mine.
No. In my eyes, right? So
that's the problem with the world today. Who cares?
But I'm not trying to push this on you. I'm not saying how do you parent. What I'm saying is, if you came to somebody, right? If my kid came to me and said they got in an accident, I went off on them instead of first going, "Oh my God, I'm okay. Are you okay? What's going on?" Right? Being the parent, loving parent. If it was their fault,
being the definition of loving parent to Scott, not the loving parent to that family.
So yelling at your kid because they got in an accident would be considered loving?
It could in that family. In that family.
Okay, I don't see it in that respect. But
exactly.
Right, and that's okay, and that's why I kind of brought it up, because to me, we all react differently to things, right? And that's okay. It's our life, it's our decision. But what I'm saying is, your reaction to a problem or an issue is paramount, right? And can change things. So I'm not going to tell somebody they're right or wrong, but when somebody sits there and like bitches about what happened to them and they're not necessarily doing anything about it, they're just going to bitch about it. Good for you. Wallow in your shit because you're not reacting.
It seems to bother you though.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Because you just said I'm a dick.
If I was your kid and I got an accident, you yelled at me, you are a complete dick.
In your eyes, right? But you don't know that family name.
I don't, and I'm not picking for other families.
Right?
But what I'm saying though is think about it. I mean, if when you're in an accident, you're already, like I said, you're in a heightened state, things are already wrong. Regardless of what happened, your first comment should be, "Is you're okay?"
Your first comment.
Okay, my first comment is going to be, "Are you okay?"
Right.
All right, it'll be fine.
Right.
Let's figure this out together.
Right.
Let's figure it out, and if you need help, let me know.
So that's wrong. I think you're a dick for not getting their attention and making them straighten out.
Well, great.
Well,
I guess I am a dick.
It's a dick for being soft.
Being soft.
Yeah, it's a dick
How
for
is
being
that soft? Caring about your kid.
Oh, my
How is it
goodness.
soft?
It's a pussification of America.
Hold on. Explain that to me. How is it soft?
That's being a pussification of America.
Asking my kid if they're okay.
Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah.
You got in an accident. Are you okay? I don't give a shit. How's the car?
Oh, great.
I don't care if you're all messed up.
Great compassion for the person who's laying on the street bleeding. Yeah, great. Hey, honey, are you okay? Yeah, but the person's dead. That's okay. Are you okay? All right. You're good, right? So Shayna says compassion isn't just advice.
Oh, you're a trip.
Letting another grow and experience a self-directed life could be seen as more compassion. Several ways to see it for sure. Right.
There's another comment to follow, though, too. Follow that up with that
Yeah,
one.
if it wasn't for people telling me how to do things, I wouldn't be as clear as to who I am. Every opinion was a chance to recalibrate and often solidify my perspective or not.
I
Right.
like that one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, as I always say about feedback, someone gives you feedback, you say thank you, and you either use it or you don't. It's your choice.
Right.
And Deke didn't put up my thing. I said Deke is being a Richard radio show host right now. So, but he's doing it well.
Yeah.
He's doing it well. But
Thanks, Don. I appreciate
No,
that one.
hey, listen.
I think that first of all, you have every right to think he's being a dick, Scott, and he has every right to think you're being one. I think it's if we said everything we think, we'd probably get in 3, 4, 5, 6 fights a day, right? If we said everything that we think.
Yeah.
And that's why part of being a human being is like when he said he had to think, don't tell a joke. I can relate to that because that's probably what would be the first thing through my head.
Yeah, he chose how to react.
Yeah, you do. I think you do have to choose. That's part of being a mature human being, for one thing. But
absolutely.
But Scott, I think just the fine point on this is just people asking versus people asking for advice versus people just giving it without it being solicited. I think that's what I think our esteemed radio host Kent is might be saying. But again, I agree with Shayna. I mean, every opinion or feedback or somebody telling you how they would do it, it can be useful, and it can be useful to say no. Okay, I appreciate it. That's not how I'd roll. But other times you might say, I'm so glad that person said that to me because I'd never thought of it that way. Yeah. And I'm going to incorporate it into my thinking. It can go either way. So it's just a matter of
good point, Shayna.
Right.
The song "A Boy Named Sue," was it mean or kind?
Yeah. Well, like 2 weeks ago, our topic was, basically when to talk, right? When to share, when not to share.
Right.
That plays into this as well, right? I mean, some people, you're just better off not saying anything. But can you learn from that experience, or can you help somebody learn from that experience? And that's between you and that person and what's going on, right? If you should share, if it's really like. If you should stick your 2 cents in or not. But the reason for my comment was it is just really important on how we respond to things, right? They're going to happen, and it's.
Why is that really important?
Because, for me,
how you respond?
Let's just take me for example.
Yeah.
How I respond to a problem can, just set up the rest of my day, my week, my month, my year, right? I mean, so it's something you have to think about, and you can't go like the pity thing. A lot of people will go to the pity or, the wallow, like, oh, why me? Why me? Well, because you're a human and you're on earth, right? You've got no choice. This shit happens every day, and how you respond to it and how you respond to the people that maybe come to you with it is huge, right? Because I mean, for me, I'm not going to be a complete dick to my kid, right? Because I want them to be able to know that I'm open and receptive to their conversations and their problems.
So again, let's
right?
go back to A Boy Named Sue.
Right, but with I don't know. I know the song, but I don't know the words. But I don't want my kid to feel like if I'm going to jump on him, and piss him off, and they're not going to come share to me. So it's how I react to him with the situation, right, wrong, or indifferent. What they did doesn't matter. But they're coming to me, right? They're telling me something that happened. So how I react to that is huge, and it's gonna impact potentially at least this particular interaction, and maybe further on down the line, right, as far as our relationship, right? Because like if my son called and told that happened, and I called him a dick and got all crazy with him instead of saying, hey, are you okay? You know what I mean? Let's do them like with you, daughter. Next steps are this, right? It changes things, and it's not in my life and in how I feel and how I've run my life, right? You're not going to change these things. So deal with it and, think it through. I mean, because there are repercussions on some things that will follow you the rest of your life. Like with your daughter, if you did not call the cops, right, and get a report and stuff like that, and this lady decided to say she had neck injuries, that could affect the rest of her life, right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't play the what if game. Right, you
in life you have to play a what if
on recent shows. You go out to the very nth. The world we're in a nuclear war, and it's you go way. This is what Scott does. Go, oh, hey, look at this domino, and when the 110th domino falls, an ant could fart, and then that's where you play it. So
right. Well, right. What is wrong? So, and I giggle at that one to a certain point, right? So I actually analyze things, right? I look through them through the whole, what I'm going to call the whole process or the whole lifespan of this issue.
What
right?
you think would happen.
Right. And that's right, because it's my life. So I'm going to think, right? So for me, where I'm at in my life is because the way that I think, right? Because I actually do push things out a little bit distant, a little bit further than everyone else. Craig Wilcox talked about it, however many weeks ago that he was on, right, on the show with you guys. Most people look at 1 and 2 things like responses, or he called them dominoes, right, of a problem. I look to the 8th domino and go, well, I might not ever get to the 8th domino, but at least I've thought about it and know where it's going to be. So I'm going to use this word. I'm protecting myself.
And then I would look at it and go, man, that's a dick move. You just wasted a lot of energy worrying about an 8th domino that's never going to happen.
Well, Scott does do the old adage, play the movie forward, which I think can be useful. But usually when Scott plays the movie forward, it's a horror film, right?
Yeah. right. But you know what? Don, I'm glad you said that, because, a lot of things you can't change, right? You can't control. I'm sorry. You can change things, right? And knowing what potentially could happen gives you that insight to make sure that you've at least got it in the back of your head to play and watch for things that may happen, right? So you can protect yourself. Yes, in some respects, do I go a little bit far thinking about things? Yeah, sometimes. But in my experience and my life, right, it has been a blessing to be able to work things out that far. So at least I have in the back of my head, right? Like with your daughter's accident, you took it all the way to call the cops because she could sue, this type of other thing. You took it to I'm going to hate to say it, but I do this something to the worst case scenario. But you're doing
that's not the
right. But, potentially, right? Getting sued and you know what I mean? So you take it to the worst case scenario, right? And if it doesn't happen, great. One of my adages as a kid or as an adult is plan for the worst, hope for the best. I have a plan.
Another cliche for the show.
Another cliche.
He still has canned green beans and a generator for Y2K in his basement.
And floppy disk, baby.
He's ready.
Yeah. And floppy disk. Well, ready. Hey, all right. So perfect example, right? If I didn't, how I reacted to what our world was telling us was going to happen, right? In my mind was justified, because I did all these things, right? Thinking that if this happened all the way down here, I'm at least protected. It didn't happen. So yeah, it cost me a little bit of time and a little bit of money, but had it happened, I would have been fine. So in my mind, because it's my life, that's how I want to live it. I reacted to that situation. I have that choice.
Right.
I can do that. So, and to me, it just it kind of, I guess it makes me laugh, but it also makes me sad because a lot of people, a decent amount of people, I don't think view things that way. And that's
Scott-
okay.
Scott-
And that's okay.
Go ahead.
Kent will be the first one at your house when the world falls apart too. Yeah.
And you know what?
No,
and I would
listen.
welcome him in
Listen,
with open
I know
arms.
you would.
because
People are like when a nuclear bomb hits, you get down, you put your face in the dirt.
Kiss your
I'm
butt
like, listen, I'm
goodbye.
running into that fucking cloud.
Right, yeah.
I don't
Put your head down and underneath your desk.
I ain't gonna put
Get under your desk
I'll
and kiss your
run
butt
face
goodbye.
first
Yeah, that's the
into it
old-
because I don't want to be around
Right.
after that.
Well, Don, you say that, and
Lisa-
I would actually welcome him into my house.
I know you would.
react
Listen,
and go, "What? You
Lisa-
fucked up. Come on in."
Lisa says, my response to unsolicited shitty advice is, thank you. I now see I am grateful I didn't wake up caring what you think. I agree with that, Lisa. And Shanna says, taking others' growth opportunities to ease your discomfort is something you want to
Let me
watch.
play the role of Deke. Who gets? Why does she get to decide if it was bad advice? Deke might have been really good advice. So why does she get to decide if it's not?
It was advice thrown to her, right?
Yeah.
That's why. That's why. It was
Unsolicited. It was unsolicited advice.
right.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
and-
unsolicited.
Yeah,
Right.
and again, I mean, I believe that just like some of the things you talked about, Deke, obviously feedback is in the eye of the beholder, but that's where, if just my personal opinion, if like I said, I always say, just say thank you. If it's lousy, get rid of it. But I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't want to discourage people from sharing, unless that every time they do, it's just crap. At some point, I'm probably going to say something to them. But most people don't even care enough to tell you. I mean, it's the old adage, that silly example of Pete using paratagem for years. He was saying that in front of
Right.
people for years, and nobody said anything to him. And it's a small example, but it's kind of one of those things. It's like, are you serious? Nobody has ever just said, "Hey, Pete, it's paradigm, not." It's a small example, but those kinds of things frustrate me because so many times people talk about people behind their back, but never go say something to their face. And I think that's what kind of is part of where my root of my desire for people to be open with one another and care enough to say something.
Yes. Right. Like Don, that sweatshirt is not a good color on you. No, I'm kidding you. Listen,
Thank you.
Lisa says this. What if the response of a self-help book chapter makes them no longer come to you for help? What if they prefer to get yelled at and just move on?
If it works for them, I'd say
I was going
more
to say,
power to
still,
them.
I
No,
think
but it was a dick move a minute ago.
what you if you
It was a
if-
dick move a
it
minute
was a
ago.
dick
Now you're
move.
like, yeah, no, after
what your move was a dick move.
But that's what they want. That's what that
Maybe
just
they
says.
do, maybe they don't. You obviously have to know the person, but I wasn't necessarily talking about my family, right? We got it, and that's fine, and that's great.
I'm not
because
talking about your family either.
No,
well,
no.
you brought my family into it with an auto accident. So
because
I guess you were
it was
talking
an
about
easy
my family.
example because how she responded to that accident is very important. In my mind, I think she did the right thing. She hadn't experienced it before, so she called her dad, who loves her and will give her the right advice. In my mind, in my life, right? I would be proud of my daughter for calling me and be like, you know what? That's great. You trusted me. You believe in me, and your reaction, I feel, is one of a good one because you don't know what to do, so you're going to ask somebody what to do. To me, kudos, right? Because that's what it's about, learning, figuring things out. She reacted, in my mind, properly. She didn't know what to do. She called her dad. Her dad said, "You're an asshole," and hung up on her. What's the difference? You told her what to happen instead of being a dick and yelling at her about wrecking her car.
But
Right?
Scott, you made you said it. You made the assumption that Kent loves his daughter.
Right.
I know he does, though.
Right.
Right, but I know he
Right.
does, and so he.
I
But she
know.
react. But so that's the thing I'm saying, and that's for me sometimes it's hard to get a good title to really cover the topic of the day, right?
Just using
Right.
that as an example, I would have
Right.
personally, I would have a lot of trouble believing that a family dynamic was healthy if in that situation the first thing the father said to his daughter is something about how stupid you are or why did you drive like that. I would personally find that difficult to ever believe that's a healthy situation. Could it
and
be?
that-
I suppose, but I would be a little bit taken aback by that being a first reaction to a child getting into a car accident.
Well,
So-
and unfortunately, I think that a lot more people actually react that way than you would imagine. I mean, where you guys are taking to get their car repaired is a really good friend of mine, right? And I mean,
Right.
and I've seen all kinds of reactions from people, right,
Oh, I
with their
bet.
kids
Yep.
coming in,
Yep.
because the car usually gets towed to the body shop right after the accident, if it's a really bad one. And it's sad because literally how we're responding, reacting to situations can make or break, right? And it's something
Make or break what?
that person's experience or what's happening with them, right? So, and
how does it break an experience the person's going through it?
You call them an asshole, you call them a dick.
That doesn't break it. It's still part of the experience.
It breaks the person. It hurts the person.
You think it does?
I think it does. I need to make sure I'm describing who's doing this. Yes, in my life, the things that I have seen, right, and how it's affected people.
Right, but what gives you the right to judge the way that I react or my daughter reacts? It doesn't. And that's what I'm saying.
Right, and I'm not judging you.
No, you are.
No,
You're
I'm
like,
not.
that's wrong. That's a dick move.
Well,
that's a huge judgment.
Okay. Right.
Huge.
You can
Right.
say, in my opinion, it's
Right,
wrong.
thank you. In my opinion,
Right?
how you
And that's
react to
perfectly
them
fine.
And then I go,
is wrong.
I don't give a shit about your opinion. Didn't
Right.
ask for it.
Right. Well, that's fine.
Right.
But being as friends, right, or being friends and just people that you talk to, right? We're not always right. We don't always know or do the right thing. So for me, I like to listen, kind of like Don said, I do like to listen to other people and what they're doing and their experiences and how they've reacted and go, Scott, you're an idiot.
Okay.
Why were you thinking
Okay,
that way?
so
Let's retool this.
Let's put a different scenario out there.
Okay.
Somebody you've known for 30 years.
Yeah.
Reacts to a reaction and kills a person. Murders.
What do you mean reacts to a reaction?
Just there was a situation and they murder somebody.
Mhm.
They now go on trial. They are found guilty and they have life in prison. Do you stop liking that person that you've known for 30 years? Because they handled the situation, quote unquote, air quotes here, incorrectly?
So, I mean, for me, what happened, I mean, would change things, right? I mean, the person before that is a person I loved, knew, and cared for, right?
Yeah.
Now, if they cold-bloodedly killed somebody,
Yes,
it's absolutely going to change how I feel about them because there was something inside of them that I did not know, right? And to me, that's wrong. My reaction to that is, well, they made their choices. I'm not going to let that affect my life.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
So you're reacting, and I would say that's a dick move to react like that because that's somebody you've known and loved for 30 years. Wow. You just show up cold shoulder. Yeah, Gary, what do you got?
I didn't say cold shoulder, but
No.
that's fine. You can take it however you want.
Right,
but
that's a dick move right there.
Are you going to hang out? What are you going to go and visit them in jail? And
Why
stuff
wouldn't
like
you? Still the same
Because
person.
No, not. It's not. The
They
same
reacted
person.
to a situation that you wouldn't have
Well,
reacted to the same way.
Granted, okay. So if the
Same person.
situation, right, the same person, right? Details obviously is going to be very important to that. So I guess it's on a case by case situation. As a general rule, though, if this person just went off the wire, now if there's a mental illness and something, I mean,
No,
there's a
so
lot
now
of different.
that's
No, hold
okay.
on.
Now
There's a
that's
lot
okay.
of Let me finish. There's a lot of different criteria that would kind of go into my reaction of that. Right. And so each situation is a little bit different. But
so you get upset when I call you a dick move because you handled it differently than I would. Man, that's a dick move. You're just going to turn your back on somebody you've loved and had a close relationship for 30 years.
No,
Wow.
I don't get upset.
The grounds with Dick and Dick.
I don't get upset. It actually makes me think about it.
It makes you uncomfortable when I say that's
That
a dick
it does.
move.
It
Whoa.
does. It does,
Wow.
and for good reason.
Oh.
So that's a good thing. So you can't. How I react to your dick move, let's say, right, is up to me. So I'm going to react to that in a certain situation. That could be good, bad, or indifferent, depending on what I react and what the situation is, right? And like I've said, I appreciate a lot of times being pushed back on, right? How it's said to me is a little bit different story, but
right.
A dick move's a dick move. But how I react to your dick move is important to me, and it's important to a relationship that we have.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting. When the shoe's on the other foot. Interesting.
Why is the shoe on the other foot?
Well, because you didn't say, "Hey, man, what'd you go through, buddy? Hey, what happened? Why did you stab that person 45 times?" My goodness.
Yeah.
Mike, listen, you came to me, bud. I appreciate that.
Right.
Here's let's look at the 28th domino here.
So
because
with your scenario, dude, there's so many unanswered questions. You're throwing out a basic to me. And so if the guy just literally went up and killed somebody, I'm
now
gonna
you're
definitely-
saying it's a guy. I
well,
was
whatever.
thinking it
This
was a
person,
woman,
this
but
human,
okay.
this human
Yeah.
being, right? You twister, you. So it's just, it's case by case on that one, and I don't have any experience with anything like that, so I really need to know what's going on. I can't say I'm going to or not going to. You're looking for an exact answer.
You just said you would. Hey, no.
You're looking for an answer.
If they
but it's cut and
cold-blooded
dry,
stab somebody 47 times, I wouldn't go.
You're fucking
I wouldn't
right.
go
No,
visit them.
I wouldn't.
Wow.
Absolutely not. If you've got the balls to take someone else's life,
Well, Deidre,
and expect to be, yeah,
don't expect conjugal visits.
yeah, right. Well, no, if she
Right.
stabs somebody 45 times out of
Oh.
fucking pure mean, she knows I wouldn't. I wouldn't think she would expect me to.
Mm.
Nor would I expect anybody to visit me if I just did something so freaking horrific. Dude, it's my reaction and my decision. Not in a million years. No,
Wow.
not in a million years.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
killing.
I might be a dick, and that's okay because that's
Don
my life,
says,
and that's what I
he
choose.
thinks intent is so important when someone is sharing their input or feedback. If you trust on someone's motive, more likely to listen.
Right.
And Lisa says judging is a normal response without control. It's the unconscious comparing experience and survival cues.
Yep.
What we do with the judgment is what is a statement of who we are. International killed or not, or intentional killed. Not
International
He
kill.
was looking for some clarification.
Sorry,
on
Gary.
international kill. Sorry,
We
Gary.
don't do killing over here.
For the first
Yeah.
time in months, and we're talking international killing.
Yeah,
that one's going to get flagged.
Welcome back, Gary. We love you, man.
Gary's
So-
like, why did I dial in today? All right.
listen.
Why wasn't there a geek today?
Yeah, to me, listen.
Sal,
Whether
nice.
there's prison ministries, there's things, and if I've known the person for 30 years and they just cold-blooded went crazy and stabbed somebody 47 times, Facebook, this is not happening, we're not promoting violence, this is an inference story.
Yeah, go to JH events and buy flowers. for everybody.
First of all, I go, didn't see that coming, right? Second of all, go, thank God it wasn't me, right? And third of all, I go, I don't know, known this person for 30 years, loved them, have had a great relationship with their family, whatever. Depending, right? I'm not going to drive to Guantanamo Bay or whatever to go visit somebody.
You're certainly not driving there.
I mean, if they were at McHenry County Jail, which is right up the road, possibly,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
I don't know why the person
Right.
snapped, but it's still that same person to me, right? So I would absolutely
But
go
is
visit.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Well, how is it not?
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you today, right? And I go out today and freaking murder 10 people.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It's obviously not me that did it, realistically.
Well, no, it
right?
is.
No, because the person you know and love or
Wouldn't
hate
do that.
on the day
No, it
is
is.
not capable of that.
No, it is.
Right? So
Obviously, you
something
were.
happened.
Obviously, you were.
I don't think so. I don't. Well,
Obviously,
at least
you
for
were.
me, but not for me. From right,
Right,
if
that's
you
what I'm
know,
saying.
if you know that person, right, that's not a typical. Their typical personality,
Yeah.
or something you would expect them to do.
I didn't say
Is it gonna
serial
hurt?
killer. I didn't
Right.
say serial
Yeah, you
killer.
didn't say
We're not
serial.
Jeffrey Dahmering here. This was just
Yeah.
a 47
So
stab.
your reaction to that of me going out and killing somebody, is your choice on how you react. But it's if you want to come visit me, that's fine. I guess I don't even know. Would I appreciate? I don't know. Probably not, because I just went out and killed people, so I don't give a shit for human life, right? But it's not what happened; it's how you reacted. You would choose to go visit that person, and that's fine. That's your reaction. But just understand the repercussions that may have down the line. Because let's just
What
say
repercussions? I go visit you. What repercussions is there?
Well, all right. I'm a murderer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're my friend. You go start visiting me in jail.
Yeah.
How are people now going to view you?
Who cares? Why do
I think that's only unique in the US, because I think what Scott is alluding to is something that you guys call cancel culture.
Yeah, there's some of
Yeah.
that. Yep, in there.
Yeah, but
It's not even cancel culture. So in this, and don't get me wrong, this is I'm going to play this out just a little bit deeper, and this is not necessarily my thoughts, but okay, you go and visit this guy.
Yeah.
Right. You go and visit me.
Okay.
I'm a convicted murderer.
Yeah.
Right. You're a businessman,
Okay.
okay, in the community.
Yeah.
You can't save me. You can't fix me. I'm done. You go visit me. People find out about that. A lot of people are going to cancel culture, most likely you, because you're visiting you're visiting and hanging out or going to see a known murderer. People are going to look at you. So your reaction to what happened, what I did, has some repercussions on your life, and that's something where I think things through. Is important.
Let me ask you this. You have a dog food store, right? And a pet food store, right?
Yeah.
And one of the pet foods that you sell, this is not happening, people. This is an inference. This is right.
It's a hypothetical.
You found out, and there's one of your best sellers. You found out that they were grinding up babies, and it was in the dog food. And you go, "Whoops, we're going to discontinue that." But people online are like, "Oh my gosh, he sells babies in the food." You're not worried about that?
Well, of course.
But wait, when you started buying that, you didn't go, "Hey, let's go out here 17 miles and 22 Domino's and go, what if babies are being chopped up in this dog food?"
That's a scenario that you don't necessarily need to go down.
Oh, why?
Right. So because I don't.
Well, somebody's gonna.
That's not something I need to think.
You think my customers are following me wherever I go, and I go in to visit somebody at the county jail, that they're going to go, "Oh my God, he's visiting a murderer."
People are paying a lot more attention to you in this world than you think they are.
No,
yes, they are.
You live in a weird world, bro. Yes.
Okay.
Gee, I wish they would pay attention to me when I'm shooting gigs.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
All
Yeah,
right.
Scott,
So,
I mean, I kind of view it a little different. I know it's a made-up situation, but if it was somebody I knew really well for 30 years and loved them and everything, obviously, that would probably be someone I would never imagine being able to do this. So
of course
there would part of this would freak me out. It's like, holy cow, this, it would freak me out a little bit from the perspective if Scott can do this, man, anybody can snap, which I suppose anybody can. But I would want to visit you to find out what happened. But also, yeah, I wouldn't throw on the towel on a 30-year-old. And if someone asked me about it, I don't condone, because I think what you're thinking others might be thinking is that they're condoning you're condoning if you go visit. No, I mean, I'm still trying to help a brother who obviously screwed up pretty bad. And again, we have this tendency to rank things. Obviously killing someone is terrible, but if we turned our back on everybody every time they did something that was wrong or we didn't like, we would have zero friends in our life, because everybody does things wrong and screws up. But again, obviously we're talking about degrees, but yeah, I just,
I don't have to agree with what he did.
Right.
No, you don't.
That doesn't change my relationship with that person.
Well, now you're visiting. There's bars between you when you visit.
Considerably, your past relationship is still the same. This is a different scenario. This is a different person. Right?
The relationship doesn't change. There's still love there. There's still friendship. There's still brotherhood or sisterhood.
You're gonna go hang out. You guys going to dinner. Your relationship totally changes. They're incarcerated. You can't do anything. That person made a decision, right? And this is
physical nature of your relationship.
The physical nature. Right. Not the personal.
I didn't say in your brain you couldn't care about it, and that's why for me it's a case by case situation. And I mean, for that to happen, I mean, it hasn't happened, so I haven't thought that through, right? So, and maybe I'm a bad person, or I'm the wrong person, or Lisa says that's what empowers the cancel culture. If me not wanting to talk to somebody that murdered somebody is engaging and helping with the cancel culture, so fucking be it, because that's wrong. And if that person, there's extenuating circumstances, right, that it happened, I feel bad. It sucks. I'm not in that person's head, but at the same token, who do I have to look out for in this world? Who's most important in this world for me is me, right? In my life.
No, I would say, right? Obviously everybody in the community, because you're like, everybody's watching me. So you're watching out for everybody.
People pay a lot more attention to people than you think. And I'll give you a quick scenario.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Or then they should.
Right. Well, no, and this is, so I bought a house.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't actually even buy the house yet.
Yep.
I had stopped by, made an offer, talked to the owner.
Yep.
The next day, I get a call from a buddy.
Yeah.
And says, "Hey, make sure you do a few things on that house on this road, and make sure you do these things." Nobody in their world knew, but apparently people know my truck and assumed that the guy from Fantasy Factory buy it, because the word on the street was the
Or-
Fantasy Factory guy bought it.
Or
I mean, my wife didn't even know that I had bought the house yet. So,
or is it the person that was selling made a phone call to say, "Hey, is this guy for real?"
Or is he
But
a fantasy?
instead, you think
Is he just a fantasy?
well, no. So what
Right.
it turned out to be was the house was the people that were living in the house weren't doing the greatest, most upstanding things. So people were watching the house, right? My truck is a white Ford F-150.
that says
Have you-
question everything on
It
it.
doesn't say jack shit on it. It doesn't say jack shit on it right now.
Well, Scott, you buried the lead.
Scott just bought a drug house.
Scott buried the lead, though. He just buried the lead. He just said, "My wife didn't even know I bought the house yet."
Right.
That's a whole show right there.
Right. Right.
I had to go home and tell her that night.
Right.
You know, I mean, I had talked to her about it, so I had the okie
so let me-
dokie, but she didn't
so-
know
It's
it
not like you
happened.
went out and bought
Hold
a
on,
pizza.
Hold on. It's
That's a
moot
true
point.
loving relationship when you can do something like that.
Yeah,
You're like,
I tell you,
yeah,
if I came home and
the-
told my wife I bought a house today,
It's a moot point. The only thing that matters is what would Taylor Swift do.
amen.
right?
Go Chiefs. Go
All right,
Chiefs.
now listen.
Absolutely.
Now listen. Here's the deal. If I run around town naked, I'm going to be known as that guy, and people are going to see what I do and when I do it.
right?
When you decide to put things on your truck like question everything and back the blue or whatever you decide to write on there, right?
Okay.
You have now made yourself the naked guy running through town, and now you're upset because somebody recognized you.
No, I didn't say I was upset at all. I'm
no,
not.
you are. You're like, hey, somebody saw my
I'm
truck.
not
and,
upset.
oh my
I
God,
said-
look what happened.
No, what I said.
People are watching you.
Right.
You want people to.
No,
you're running around
no.
with a spotlight on your fucking head.
Crazy. Not at all. Not
Hey,
at
here
all.
comes Scott. Question
No.
everything.
Dude, here's where you're wrong. Question everything is a good thing. I want people to think for themselves. But me, I'm not going
So
around with the
what? So when
spotlight.
they recognize your truck, why are you fucking upset or surprised?
I'm not upset. I'm explaining to you that
No.
people actually are paying
Yes.
more attention than you think.
No, because you've drawn attention. When you run around throwing glitter and doing cartwheels on rainbows, everywhere you go, they're like, "There's that guy." They're not watching you. There's that guy. There's that truck. There he is again, throwing sparkles and rainbows and doing cartwheels.
So that's where you're wrong.
No,
That's where you're wrong.
You put yourself out. You got a show, for Christ's sake. You put yourself out there.
Right,
of
and
course.
right.
You're
because-
recognizable.
okay, right. What I'm getting at,
You're a celebrity. You're a celebrity.
No, they're not going to go. Hey, there goes question everything. Let's. Oh my God, he went to the prison. I wonder what's happening at the
The
prison.
point I was trying to make there, Deke, is the fact that people are a little bit more interested and people pay a lot more attention to other people than you actually realize.
No.
Whether they well,
I actually disagree with that statement. It's certainly we are an island of 6 million people here. Frankly, nobody really cares what their next person is doing.
Right. Right. And here's the other thing I'll say.
well, in America, that's a little bit different.
Here's
unfortunately.
the other thing I'll say. Look at all the serial killers that have been out there. And people are like, oh man, he was my neighbor for 20 years. I never knew he was
Never
buried.
saw it.
Never.
Little John
Man,
Gacy.
he came over and had dinner. I never thought that he was burying people under. Hey, he was such a good guy. People aren't. Listen, when you put yourself out there, of course you're going to be recognized. Hey, Jordan rides around with M Air 23 on his Ferrari, and he pulls into town. Guess what? People are like, oh, everybody's going to see it. You have put yourself in a position. People aren't following you like, oh,
I didn't say they're following me.
what's Scott doing over there? Oh my God. Oh, look! Oh, Scott just pooped. He actually pulled onto the side of the road and used an outhouse. He didn't go into the gas station. What? Right? No.
I have a question. What did you guys change your coffee to this morning?
I wondered, yeah.
It just.
I think there was certain natural herbs added to the coffee this morning.
I don't drink. I'm not drinking coffee. I got tea.
Listen.
Is on fire.
Listen. This whole show is about entertaining people, right?
Right.
Now I will. What people? Yeah, I'm a dick. I'll admit it.
I
Right.
think this show's about entertaining.
But here's the deal. Is this Scott and I think a lot alike, right? We aren't far from.
I'm not so
right.
sure after today's
Right.
show.
Oh, just remember.
I mean, the difference is if Scott were to stab somebody 47 times, I would visit him in prison. I wouldn't care, right? That's a friendship, a brotherhood, a love for a person. And you know, I don't know why. I don't know why he did it, whatever, right? I don't know why. That doesn't change who he is to me. Right,
and you're different than most.
Understand that.
You are, and that's a good thing.
Right?
That's why I love you.
Yeah, there's no
right?
denying that. They're get all thumbs up on that, right? But here's the deal. But people would ask me, I'd be like, listen, man, a series of bad decisions. I don't know why. I said, I listen. Don't ask me about. I've never killed somebody. I don't know why. Right? I listen. I don't even hunt. Right? If a squirrel runs out in front of me, I try to avoid it. If there's a bird, I'll try to hit it because I don't like birds. Right? That's a phobia. That's just a phobia.
They're attacking you.
You know what I'm saying? Listen. Woodpeckers, I'll try to shoot, but I enjoy.
Hey, that's illegal.
I enjoy trying to shoot woodpeckers because it is like Woody Woodpecker. They're so good. They'll see you and they'll pop around the other side of the tree and come back out and go, and then you're like, pew, and you're like, yeah.
Allegedly.
No, I try to shoot.
Well, all I know is that I have to go change my shirt because Deke said this color.
No, you look wonderful. Listen,
that compliments you. Don't worry about it.
Gray.
Right,
baby.
The bottom line is this show is stemmed from Coffee with Pete, right?
Yeah.
And these are the conversations that we would have. I mean, Don, you remember there would be 4 or 5, 6 conversations rolling around that table. And I was that same guy. You know, we had a group of very white old men, and you know, and they had all the ways to cure the world, you know. And I was the guy. I was like, hey, let's ask the minority in the room. Oh, there's not one. Okay, you know, they would give us all of their input on, you know, Black History Month. Okay, well, let's ask the African American in there.
Black History Month.
Crickets.
Yeah, no, nothing. Okay.
Yeah, we weren't very diverse culture.
So I've always been the guy to just. I want people to think. That's what Scott and I love about the show, is to get people to think and push them a little bit, entertain, because it is an entertaining show. We absolutely love everybody who gets involved and listens, and we are so thankful. But it's true, you know. Believe it or not, Scott and I would talk several times through the week on what we're going to talk about in the show. Right.
Some weeks.
Yeah.
Except when Ken.
Right. Yeah. And Scott, listen. And last week I had everything set up so everybody knows we were going to go live. I was going to come in from California. Scott said, I don't want to do the show. Yeah. It was Scott. Scott
had a bad week last week, and so my reaction to what I was doing was to just.
It was a dick move. It was a dick
move. But it was needed. It was needed.
It was a dick move because you all didn't get to enjoy that.
You sitting in your hotel room.
Right. Yeah, that banter. Listening to.
I apologize for everybody out there. You know, I appreciate everyone listening.
Was not as good because of that. So
now next week we will not have a show next week.
Oh, no show next week.
Huh? And the reason is I've got a meeting and you're having a procedure done.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'll be up for it, and you got a meeting, so we're just going to call it. We'll probably do a rerun. Yeah. So don't think that the show's going down because week in a week, you know.
You guys are becoming like Johnny Carson back in the day.
I know. Stop.
So here's the deal today. A great bunch of shows today. We got a brand new show coming up at noon with Bobby Bainey and Think Big, Go Local. It's one you're going to want to see about, you know, just the life and digital marketing and things like that. She's absolutely brilliant. Bobby has done 2 TED Talks, I think now 2 or 3. She's a brilliant person. We love her, and we're excited about our relationship with Think Big, Go Local. But come back at noon for her new show. Is going to be great. Of course, at before that though, at 10:30 we've got Innovative Strategies with Bill Hasse, and then In the Know with Steph and Joe. All that good stuff. So Shayna says that I had an uncle murder an aunt, and another member revealed as a child molester. It's something wild to process. You won't know until it happens in your world. Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
How you react to it,
and the situation that I brought up. It's a different crime, but it is nonetheless. That's somebody in my life too, and a lot of people in my life, very close to me. A lot of people in my family. My kids can't believe that that I would still communicate with this person, and it's you can't, right?
And that's your choice, and that's okay. It's your life. You get to do that.
And it's hard, right? But if push were to come to shove, and my children were to say, I can't handle this, Dad, and if you continue this, I can't come around or whatever, then there's absolutely, family. I would make the choice to say no, the family first. I would never.
Well, there
never
you
do
go.
that, right? But
your
as a
reaction would be to be typical, right, with something like that. Yours at first is not
typical to Scott.
Typical to a decent amount of humans.
Scott. You can't say that.
I'm not typical. I'm the farthest.
You can't say that.
Okay.
That makes you feel good.
All right. Let me use shape my choice of words. But yeah,
right.
That would be an answer I would expect to hear.
Hey, Scott, you're just gonna have to start saying, "Well, I think this," and then say,
I know I need to choose my words a little bit better. I really do. I mean, don't get and right. I laugh because what my meanings are and what actually comes out of my mouth sometimes, or a decent amount of times, is not brought across properly, and that's why I always kind of have to backpedal and explain myself.
Yeah,
as
my brain's going faster than my mouth's faster than my brain.
It's just not Scott. Everybody judges everybody, right? That's why it says in the Bible, don't judge people, right? I mean, because that's
do unto others, you have to do unto you.
So I mean, you're being judged all the time, but there aren't people following you around watching your every move, going, oh my gosh, right? Right? That's not happening, right? So we absolutely love your time. I know we're way over.
We're way over today.
It's cool, but from the bottom of my heart, absolutely love everybody. Gary, you absolutely have made my week.
Dude, it's so good to see you, man. It's awesome.
Absolutely love you. So glad that things are going well for you out there. Hopefully your family's healthy and things are good. So
still staying afloat there.
Hey, amen and
survivors.
And we here at 216 Creator Studios did say that we're going to get out to Singapore sometime. But listen, I sat in the middle.
The pandemic is over. Just a reminder, the pandemic is over.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Gonna do a remote from Singapore.
He goes, I feel like I'm at a dive bar over here in two old guys wearing red.
Hey, that's what we try to cue the show at, right?
So
devil's advocates.
Listen, it was I sat in the middle for a 4-hour flight back to and from California.
No thanks.
So looking at a 45-hour flight out to Singapore, to me, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have
it's not gonna be 45 hours.
I don't know.
It'll just feel like it.
It feels like it.
It'll just feel like it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, guys, I appreciate Gary. I obviously love the fact that you rang back in with us today. I appreciate it, man. We'd love to have you on all the time. Love everybody that's listening to us. We appreciate it. Don, obviously, love the fact that you come in live with us all the time. Hopefully, we can get more people coming in live. But, hey, I appreciate you guys more than you'll ever know. Just coming in, listening to us every week. I mean, you guys help me out. And I hope that in some way, shape, or form that we here at the studio are helping you guys out and at least looking at life a little bit differently. And
everybody who tunes in and watches goes, hell, my life ain't that bad,
right?
Right. Just a closing statement about our topic today. It's so funny. My wife on Friday mornings is getting ready and she leaves for work. That's why I had to shut down for a couple seconds. And it's so funny. She looks at me like, why are you on this show with these guys? but I still do it. You know what? So my wife thinks I'm nuts for tuning into it.
That's why you're happily married. That's why you're happily married.
Yeah, so, we absolutely love it.
It's just, so sometimes you just have to press on, even though you're getting feedback of somebody saying, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Well, that's right. And I love
everybody's guilty pleasure on a Friday morning.
Right. Well,
it is for me.
Hey,
if these idiots, my life isn't that bad.
I always feel better about myself after the show.
Yeah. Keep rolling, man. I mean, life is life, and we got no choice what to do. Oh, we do have a choice, but
there you go. Salvador says, "Come to Fort Worth." You should do a Dallas-Fort Worth remote. That's a little shorter flight than Singapore.
Hey, you know what? There's
a
couple of nice bars down there on the strip. I love watching the Longhorns roam the roads there.
He's got an interesting view of Texas, doesn't he, Salvador? Yeah.
Hey, Fort Worth.
We got our first grocery store. But we don't have to kill.
Hey, Sal, I'd be more than happy to come out there. I love Texas. Come on out, hang out. Everything's bigger in Texas, especially me.
God bless
good
Texas.
times.
That's right.
Well, thanks guys for tuning in. Remember, go out there and be the change you want to see in the world. And you know what? I love the fact that you guys every week can just challenge the shit out of me. That's what, really keeps me rolling. It really does. You know what I mean? Because I love just listening to other people and learning from other people and getting my ass handed to me, because then I reassess. So I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you stick with the station. And I've got, like Kent was saying, we got all kinds of awesome shows coming up today. So thank you so much, guys.
And remember, the 3 people that you think are following you, they are.
Have a good weekend, everyone.